Dear Excellencies, distinguished guests and friends of the Arctic, it is a great honor for me to be with you virtually today, representing the Russian chairmanship of the Arctic Council. Although I wish I could join you in person, I am very grateful that the Arctic Council Assembly provided me the opportunity to share my remarks with you virtually. This is not the first time the ongoing pandemic situation has complicated travel to Iceland. During the recent Icelandic Arctic Council chairmanship that ran from 2019 until May this year, there were several meetings and events planned in communities throughout Iceland that turned virtual. While we quickly adapted to video conferences and virtual coffee chats, in-person meetings that bring together, that we often call an extended Arctic family, are indispensable. It is an honor for Russia to chair the Council after Iceland's excellent and effective leadership. And we begin our chairmanship during a very special year. This year, the Arctic Council celebrates 25 years of successful circumpolar cooperation. For a quarter of a century, despite the complexity of global affairs in other areas, the 8 Arctic states and Arctic indigenous peoples have sat together at the same table, working towards achieving our shared Arctic goals. The Arctic Council has built a strong foundation for Arctic cooperation, and we can celebrate its success in maintaining the region as one of peace and cooperation. Through the Arctic Council, strong partnerships have formed between Arctic nations and peoples. This is due to the unique structure of the Council, which is the first and only intergovernmental forum where indigenous peoples sit at the same table as Arctic states as permanent participants. The Arctic Council's 6 working groups, which tackle a broad range of the Arctic most pressing issues, regularly develop world-class environmental, ecological, and social assessments that provide us with the best scientific and evidence-based knowledge that inform our decision-making. Over the course of 25 years, our hard work and dedication to this consensus-based forum has ensured that all voices and interests are respected. Decisions are made backed by the best science and knowledge, and that we progress steadily towards our shared goals for secure, sustainable, and thriving Arctic. Russian territory accounts for almost a third of the Arctic. In Russia, over 2.5 million people live in the Arctic, out of a total of 4 million inhabitants that live around the circumpolar north. Therefore, in dealing with issues in the Arctic, it's absolutely critical that we first and foremost consider those that call the Arctic their home. That is why Russia considers sustainable development and the careful balance of social, economic, and environmental dimensions to be of utmost importance. The challenges the Arctic faces are numerous and evolving rapidly, and there is not one nation or entity that can mitigate these challenges alone. We therefore chose the Russian chairmanship to operate under the theme Responsible Governance for a Sustainable Arctic, reflecting the need for collective action on the sustainable development of the region and to strengthen synergies with other regional platforms. It's fitting that the Russian chairmanship program places its first priority on the well-being of Arctic inhabitants, including indigenous peoples, as this has always been a core aspect of the Arctic Council since its establishment 25 years ago. To do this, it is essential that we improve access to education and healthcare, including improving mobile and satellite telecommunications and medical infrastructure. In the context of the coronavirus pandemic, the need for adequate healthcare and advanced technologies in the field is more apparent, and the Council working groups address these issues through several projects. One such project on biosecurity in the Arctic was introduced by Russia and will support public health systems in response to biological threats related to the spread of pathogens, parasites, and other biohazards across the Arctic. Russia is home to 40 Arctic indigenous peoples, and maintaining their traditional way of life in modern conditions is a priority. As part of the Russian chairmanship, and in line with the UN's International Decade of the World Indigenous Peoples, we will support endeavors aimed at preserving the identity and heritage of Arctic indigenous peoples. In this regard, Russia initiated a project on digitalization of linguistic and cultural heritage of Arctic indigenous peoples that will use modern digital technologies to create a multilingual database of indigenous peoples' language. Empowering Arctic youth is another special focus of the Russian chairmanship. It is important to engage with today's Arctic youth and create suitable conditions for their professional and social fulfillment. We recently appointed a Russian chairmanship youth envoy for international cooperation in the Arctic, Mikhail Uksusov, who will facilitate dialogue between youth internationally. Climate change has a significant and rapid impact on the Arctic, which is warming 3 times faster than the rest of the world. Therefore, in addition to addressing climate change issues, adapting livelihoods, and enhancing resilience to its effects, we need to give urgent attention to managing environmental risks. The Russian chairmanship will pay particular attention to coordinated measures to protect, preserve, and restore the Arctic environment, research climatic conditions, and strengthening environmental security, including preventing natural and man-made environmental emergencies. Progressive social development in the Arctic depends first and foremost on sustainable economic growth. Russia stresses the importance of responsible economic cooperation, including striking a balance between economic growth and minimizing the negative impact on the environment. To do this, we intend to promote environmentally friendly technologies in sectors such as transportation, industry, and energy. There are several Arctic Council projects that focus on energy security, including the increased use of renewable energy sources, which will improve the living standards of Arctic inhabitants. We also intend to focus on the sustainable tourism industry, which contributes to social economic development while helping to preserve and enhance cultural and natural heritage. As Arctic shipping increases, it is essential that it is sustainable and safe. Throughout the Russian chairmanship, we will support cooperation in training qualified maritime personnel, developing unified educational standards, and ensuring emergency preparedness and response. We intend to hold several conferences on the development of telecommunications and digitalization in the Arctic, green energy for shipping, transport infrastructure, and sustainable navigation. The final focus of the Russian chairmanship will be to strengthen the Arctic Council. The Council recently adopted its first ever 10-year strategic plan, which reflects the shared values and joint aspirations of the Arctic states and indigenous permanent participants. The strategic plan will serve as a launch pad for the next decade as we advance sustainable development, environmental protection, and good governance in the region. And the Russian chairmanship will prioritize putting it into action. Most importantly, during the course of our Arctic Council chairmanship and in the spirit of the Council 25th anniversary, we will continue to foster constructive cooperation, maintain peace and stability, and ensure responsible governance for the sustainable development of the Arctic. The Arctic is without a doubt marked by rapid change, but it's important to also stress that it is full of resilience and that it is a promising stage for new opportunity. Let us not forget that the Arctic is a home for 4 million people. It is our collective responsibility to preserve and empower it to prosper today and for future generations that follow. Thank you for your attention.